We, of course, added navigation to our page, but one issue is that whilst it does work fine, we get no visual indication of what the currently active route is. It would be nice if this selected tab would change, and that of course is only a CSS thing. Because if you check your app component here, you see we got this active class on the list item which determines whether this is marked as active, if this link gets the right CSS classes or not. So it would be nice if we could dynamically set this class. I will remove it from here, and how can we now set it dynamically? Angular gives us a specific directive for this, the router link active directive. And the convenient thing about this directive is you can add it to a wrapping element like we do here to the list item, or also, of course, to the link itself. And it will attach the class you specify in between here, for example, active, so this should be a string, to that element it sits on. Now, active on the link itself wouldn't do anything when using Bootstrap. Here, for this tabs look, we need to add it to the list item, but this of course depends on which package or which CSS code you are using. And here you could specify any class you want, like my active class or whatever that is. So here it is active to make it look nice in Bootstrap's world, and I will add it to all my links here. So now theoretically, all my links should receive this active CSS class once they are clicked or when they are active. So if we have a look at this, it seems to work because we still have home set as our active page, even though we removed this class, this active class we had there before. If I click servers, it gets marked as active too, and the same for users, so this works. But somehow home is always marked as active, so that does not seem to work correctly. What's wrong here? Well, the router link active directive does one thing. It analyzes your currently loaded path and then checks which links lead to a route which uses this path. And by default, it marks an element as active, it adds this CSS class if it contains the path you are on, or if this link is part of the path which is currently loaded. So for the /servers link or the /users link, this is of course the case once we click servers or users. For the /nothing link, which is the first one, the home page, this is always the case. We always have /nothing at the beginning of our path here. So if we are on /users, well, there is this empty path in between, you could say. The same for servers and the same for just home, of course. So the empty path segment is part of all paths. Still, we don't want to have home being marked as active all the time. So to fix this, we can add some configuration to this router link active directive, and I will just split this up all over multiple lines to make this a bit easier to read. So we can add a special configuration to our router link active directive. So on the same element as router link active was added to, we can add router link active options. And this now needs some property binding because we don't just pass a string there. Instead, we pass a JavaScript object, and that would not work without having our squared brackets. So with squared brackets, we can pass anything which will be resolved dynamically, like this JavaScript object. And here we can basically add one important configuration, say exact, and set this to true. So exact is a kind of a reserved property on this object you pass to router link active options, and this will now basically tell Angular only add this router link active class, so this active CSS class in this case, if the exact, the full path is, well, whatever this link leads to. So only if everything is just / and not if it is only part of the path. So with this in place, now you see it still is marked as active on the empty path at the starting page. But if you go to /servers, now only servers is marked as active because now we fixed this, we changed the default behavior to make sure we only mark this if the full path is, well, whatever we have on our router link.